And we're live. Welcome to Thursday, late morning, early afternoon. In my challenge number one to myself to just basically turn on the camera and do a show with zero agenda, zero bullet points, zero notes written down, zero ideas really going through this thick walnut of a noggin that I have on top of these oddly rounded shoulders. But I welcome you all here today and this morning to a brief, possibly unentertaining, perhaps even annoying early afternoon episode. Getting kind of hairy, I can tell by the seeing myself in the camera here. I need to trim this mustache up a little bit. It's getting kind of a Logan look, as we say. Starts collecting that nicotine, as Ron Logan says. Before you know it, my mustache will be brown. I don't need that in my life. Sensi, hey, this show is dedicated to Sensi Wackadoodle. One of two mods here on this channel. Because she quite frankly, doesn't usually get to watch a show live. She has a life and prefers not to be up in the middle of the night, probably. So we dedicate this one to Sensi, and to dedicated to Sensi Wackadoodle. But also noting that we welcome anyone else from across the big pond, called the Atlantic Ocean, who may be around 5 hours ahead of us, to the broadcast. I'm still an hour behind on this computer. It's almost noon. I was thinking it was going on 11 o'clock, but my computer is set to some arcane central time or something. You guys will excuse me as my my teapot of water is about to start whistling. And it ain't going to be whistling Dixie, let me tell you. So I put up in the, and I had, put up in the community, oh my God, geez, good Lord, I need a trim. In the community post section, it's been a rough couple days, anytime that I just feel kind of shit on sometimes, to be honest with you. I know that's kind of a victim mentality, so I try to stay out of it, but I don't, ask these close personal friends to invest in my sweat equity to make us all, something, or to have an idea. Hey, Junior. Hey, Dandy Linus, by the way. I relish my friendships. I mean, I think you guys probably know that. And so yeah, the last couple days have just been rough. I just feel like people sometimes, when you're poor like I am, I'm not ashamed to say that. I work every day. I'm getting ready to go to work as soon as this broadcast is over. I'm doing my best to get out of this hole for what I know how to do and the skills that I have, which are not numerous, believe it or not. Of course, this doesn't pay, nor would I want it to. Because I believe that once you start taking money for your creative outlet and turn that into your living, regardless of your intentions, it becomes a different creature. And I'm quite comfortable with where this channel, this community, and this greater idea of broadcast, because that's really what I enjoy about this. It's not the solving of the mystery. It's the discussion of the mystery, whatever that may be. A cold case, something anomalous, a cryptid, which is anomalous. You can see Thad in the background there. Oh, my water's ready. One moment, folks. I am still enjoying a little coffee before I get my day going. Because remember, as a food delivery person, your day doesn't start at 9 a.m. and stop at 5 a.m. I'd like to say thanks to today's sponsor, Johnny's Markets. See you guys in a little bit for my daily ablutions. And know that I bring my own supplies. And I clean up the bathroom when I'm done, oftentimes cleaning up other people's messes. Leave a public restroom cleaner than you found it, and you will always have friends in the retail gas station business. Those are the kind of people I get along with. Let me just say, to any family or friends whom I love, if you're in that corporate suck world, that corporate vampire world, and you want to pull little old me into your life and offer up things that then you will not follow through on, please know that much like me being unable to take that fish off the hook, you're putting me on the dock and yanking the hook out of my mouth while standing on my fucking throat. Know that. And let it sink in. You know, I'm not just fodder for your fantasy. I work hard for a living. I'm trustworthy. I'm loyal. And I will be damned if I will be a fantasy for someone else to live out the machinations of their venture capitalistic fucking dream. I'm my own person, and I don't succumb to pressure very easily. I will tell you that. With that being said, let's go over a couple comments. Sensi Wackadoodle says, it's tough sometimes. I get you, farmer. Sometimes it feels like everything is against you and no one is anywhere to be seen. And what I find ironic, or unironic for that matter, I've had worse times in my life. You guys have been there for them, as a matter of fact, when I initially started broadcasting. The whole reason I went on the air in the first place was because I shattered my ankle and really couldn't do much outside of the house. So I started looking into the Delphi murders and started going on Sleuth Intuition and had this idea for a 6-point matrix system in which you take old information, turn it on its side, and look at it in a bit of a new light in terms of trajectory changing events leading up to the events that happened that day on February 14th, 2017 at 2:33 p.m. And you know how I don't feel shit on necessarily. Like, I don't think any one of my friends and or family are going, you know, how are we going to fuck with Derek today? That's not what I'm saying. And I don't hold that kind of resentment towards them at all. I'm just saying, when somebody doesn't have water that is potable, you don't dangle over their head a carrot, which offers more money than they've ever made, only to then let it just go by the wayside of saying, well, you know, I have a wife and kids and I'm busy. Just don't do it to people, man. I didn't call anyone and ask for a handout. I didn't ask for a job. I didn't ask for an investment. I'm capable of finding my own means and ways of surviving. If you guys don't know that, I don't know who does, because as I can attest, and this is my only way to keep it honest in my head, is that I don't come on here begging for money. I wouldn't want that, by the way. You guys could all start throwing me money, and chances are pretty good I would donate it to a charitable cause, because I wouldn't be comfortable with you guys actually sending it. Whoever you guys are. Not you guys particularly, but the internet community as a greater whole. So that's not happening in a large sense. The only exception I would make for that is if I had a project in mind, then it would be dedicated, what you would call directly appropriated, above board. I mean, I have an idea. I have an idea for something, by the way. I'm going to go over that. I don't know. I'm not going to say who out loud, but anyone that watched the last broadcast, and we can call this an after show for that broadcast, in which we went over the J. Robert Oppenheimer and Albert Einstein draft memo. I hope you guys found that interesting. I really enjoy doing those sort of document wonky shows where we read through authenticated documents together. I really enjoy that format. So you could expect to see more of that. And then the discussion afterwards that follows is what I really, enjoy doing. Sorry, I'm kind of drifting all over. I really had no agenda, and today would even be an exclamation point. Junior saying hi to Hiawatha. Sometimes people can just be insensitive for struggles of others, like they don't want to. Yeah, but what I noticed though, Sensi, and no offense to people in the corporate world, whatever that means, They get the air about them. Hi, can I borrow you? Oh, I'll be with you in a moment. I don't like it. I find myself, I best get along in life with poor people. And that's a fact. And restaurant workers. And blue collar workers. And people that work behind that gas station counter who have to put up with people's abuse and bullshit attitude all day. And the last person you should be taking your shitty day out on is somebody that's making minimum wage behind the counter that they're serving you food from. Think about that. That's dumb. You're going to be extra nice to those people. Junior says, send the lawyers, guns, and money. I hope you're referring to me and not your particular situation, Junior. How's that going for you? If you feel like speaking about it. You know, I don't want to say anything and keep talking about anything out loud on the public airwaves that we don't need to talk about. That's the nice thing about having a relatively small group like we had, is that I can say that to Junior. He knows exactly what I'm talking about, and y'all know what I'm talking about, but the rest of the world has no fucking clue what we're talking about. Oh, they could investigate it and look back a couple shows, but they won't. They don't have time for that, and I'm glad. We don't want them looking us over. And that's why I don't care about numbers, and that's why I don't care to compromise what I say, and that's why I don't care what anybody else thinks in terms of how I broadcast, unless I'm offending someone, or if I hear from one of you guys, because we're a community, whether you like it or not. Boston Christian's here. Excellent. Good to see you, Boston. Boston, I'm just doing a quick little, I kind of started out a little bitchy. I just woke up not too long ago. You can see I'm looking rough. It's cold all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't know what's happened here in Michigan, but there seems to be no secondary off seasons. That sort of in-between time seems to be gone. You just go from like snow wall to heat wave to, it's time for the leaves to change and winter's here. Which concerns me. I put up in the community post page, it's looking now like since this whole other job thing definitely fell through, then I'm going to be hunkering down here for the winter. I know keeping an RV warm in the winter is going to be more of a challenge than keeping this place cool with an air conditioner in the summer. That's a no-brainer. I mean, an electric air conditioner on top of the unit, boom, set the, the thing on the wall. I have full shore power, 30 amp shore power, so I run that for the dog that I watch. It's not my dog. Okay? It's not my dog. I love him. And I take care of him like he's my dog. But I'm just fostering right now. Because I had 2 dogs, guys. Remember? Louie and the other one? Quickly, she wasn't my dog anyways. I only had her for a little few months. Mary Jane. I love that Mary Jane. She was such a baby. But I love this Thad just as much as either one of them. And Louie was my mom's dog. But moving out here, I knew that I couldn't bring them with me. I mean, I was going to be gone most of the day. What? For dogs to stay cooped up in a small RV all day? No. No, I made sure they went to places where they could be running around with other dogs by qualified people that will take them to the vet every 6 months and get all their checkups done, take them for walks and love them. And people that they've known their whole lives. So it worked out pretty well. What I'm saying ultimately is I wouldn't be prepared to take on the ownership of another dog. People have asked me, well, what happens, if the owner wants you to just take the dog? And I said, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. I'm sure not going to see him go off into La La Land where they put a needle in him or something. I love this dog way too much. And he keeps me safe out here. I'm sorry I'm blabbering on. Let's go through some comments, guys. Let's involve you guys, because that's what I'm doing this for. Not for you guys. I'm not doing this for you guys. It's for all of us together. See, me too. That's what makes it special, that we all get to enjoy this moment, I hope. And anybody wanting to come on live always is welcome to. Just because I don't put that link up doesn't, mean that I don't want anyone to ever call in or anything like that. I just forget you guys. And a lot of times you guys are so used to just sort of letting me, go on, as it were. Because I kind of I don't know how to say a tantrum or whatever I do, whatever this is that I do. Here's a link if anybody wants to call in, by the way, and bitch or talk about anything they want. I don't care. Now you can talk about other people, or if you don't like somebody, it doesn't matter to me because I don't pick up sides like that either. On this digital landscape, to pick sides without obvious infractions would be so monotonous to me. I just like to see it come in, let it come in naturally. And I figure if there's someone around here in these parts, hi Louise, it's good to see you. Boston saying hey to Junior. Louise saying hi to Boston. Here we go. Let's get them going. Let's get those hellos going. You guys don't be shy with those, man. A lot of shows will chastise for too many hellos. I say bring on those hellos. There's always enough room for that. To say hello to somebody and acknowledge their existence. What greater thing do we have as humans? Junior saying hello to Boston. Good, Junior. It's hard when you have a sensitive soul. I know as soon as we meet somebody like that, we're going to find out what causes them to have that sensitive soul. Yeah, I know. I go around all day, Sensi, like choking back tears, basically. And that's another weird thing, like, I swear for my 30s, 40s, basically, maybe mid 40s, you couldn't get me to cry. I could lose somebody close to me and I would be sad, but no real tears would come out. Now, it's not like I don't go around like sobbing. Excuse me while I blow my nose. It's quite rude on a live broadcast. I apologize. It's even cute when I blow my nose. Like, yes, I have to. Oh, shit. You guys, I don't know what I would do without this broadcast. I tell you, I've been babying this computer, keeping it updated. I haven't punched anything. Same thing with my car. I value that car so much, man, that little Camry. It's been treating me well. So I got a little work to do to it. We're going to get that done hopefully the first week of September. It's going to be getting cold here soon. These leaves are going to be falling off the trees. I know how I procrastinate. You guys tried to watch me sell a house. It didn't work out well. Allagash, main alien abduction case, I think around 1988. Not positive on date. Boston, interesting. You're aware of that case. I'm also aware of that case. They call that the Allagash 4. Look at my knowledge level on this shit when you guys bring it up. I love this. Allagash 4. I believe 4 older college friends go off to camp overnight. Do I have this story started out right? Or at least 4 friends out of college. Think Big Chill meets E.T. You guys, I love broadcasting. I love being able to have to put together words on the spot without any warning. I don't know what that is. It's like an exercise to my brain. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Boston. Then I'll go on. Then now that I know I have the right case, let me take a sip of my what do we got today? A mix of today's sponsor, Nescafe and Cafe Bustelo sticks. Yummy. By the way, if anybody likes what is known as an Arnold Palmer, where you take iced tea and lemonade and mix it together, I have what's known as the Dirty Palmer, where you take cheap gas station cappuccino and then put a nice Nescafe coffee stick in there. It really juices it up to a matter of tasting right. So you get that wonderful cappuccino taste, but it's not too sweet. It gives it more of an edge, almost like they put an extra shot in. The Dirty Palmer. I name that shit. I name shit all the time, by the way. If I knew how to copyright and or whatever that is called, I don't even know the word. I don't even know the word. Register trademarks or something. Sensi says, my mod says, I'm going to call you that because it makes me feel important. I have a sensitive soul. I empathize with people. Me too. And feel their energy. So if someone is feeling sadness, I can feel it too. Put me in an emotional film and I'm blubbing. Yeah, me too. Or if you just think about like your dog's face while you're driving down the road, suddenly like you just start like crying or something. I don't know why. I don't know why that happens to me now. I mean, like I said, you couldn't raise a tear out of one of these tear ducts for years. Now I start blubbering all the time. Not really, like I said, blubbering. It's more of a the tear up is just uncontrollable. And they have to fall out. They have to go somewhere. Unfortunately, they don't just dry up or suck back in. I've tried to do both. Because you're sitting at that red light, and some big redneck in a, 8-cylinder, big Ford diesel is sitting next to you, revving that jet engine sound. However they get that out of these trucks, that sounds like a jet engine. All this. Then they look over at your ass in a 93 Camry, and you're just like blubbering over, that song Dog and Butterfly by Heart. You don't even like Heart. You don't even like Butterflies or that song. Derek May suggests a podcast for you to listen to, Blurry Creatures. They dropped a video titled Ohio's Area 51. It was very interesting. Be honest with you, Hiawatha, I think I just found that this morning. I was watching a show about Ohio's Area 51. So if that's, and they started out, and I don't recall seeing anybody's, I was already in a story though. Hang on, let me go back, Hiawatha, before I go to that. Sorry. Hang on. I got to go back, guys. Boston Christian. Allagash, Maine alien abduction case, I think around 88. Yeah, it was sometime in the early 90s, something like that. Anyway, so 4 of these guys go out camping overnight. I don't know the story exactly, but I think somehow they end up fishing on the water. A large luminous object comes down. They get their asses back to the shore. This thing follows them. Basically, they lose all kinds of time in terms of at least 2-3 hours each. They all recalled the same sort of experience under hypnosis, medical hypnosis, not the quit smoking kind, but rather there's a deeper, more medical hypnosis that they use, like the Dr. John Mack sort of helped develop, I think, for these situations. Harvard psychiatrist, head of Harvard psychiatry before they murdered him with a so-called drunk driver in England because he wasn't smart enough to know which way the traffic was coming. Yeah, tenured Harvard psychiatrist John Mack. Yeah, I don't know any John Prine Jr. A lot of people are a big fan of John Prine, though. Give him a real credit for being a real authentic dude. I know that. I'm not aware of any of his music. So that's that story, and it's you guys could Google or YouTube it or whatever. I mean, it's a pretty incredible story. But at the end of it, there were drawings made of what the creature that they encountered looked like, and it's very tridactyl. Think Nazca mummies, and very big. With it'd be what they would call one of these. What's that? A praying mantis type. A praying mantis type, yeah. And possibly the same thing that was seen in the Vegas Kenmore / Gomez video that Jim Quirk and Scott Roeder have easily verified as real and authentic. In fact, Jim just did another show on that today with even more ring video evidence from that area showing that craft come in. There are so many different points of view of that craft coming in. You have the actual family, and the cops are still unattainable to this day who investigated that. You can't talk to them. Louise, my favorite emoji person. All right, let me get down here a little bit. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, Sensi, sometimes I'll just be like driving my car down the road, and I can tell by the look on someone's face on their bicycle that they're just not having a good life, and I want to stop and hug them. But I know that in today's world, I would be arrested. So I don't do that, But I do feel it. I can feel other people's exuberance, excitement, or as web sleuths and as humans, we all have this innate ability to have sort of a sixth sense. Now, I don't know how all that works, okay? And I don't think it works where, like, you're seeing the pictures of the future in your head. But it's more about a matter of reductions and deductions in investigations, really taking and looking at all the possibilities and then ruling out ones that aren't possible or that don't match that timeline and seeing then what is left and then working from that pool to narrow down possibly a nexus of whatever situation you're talking about. Maybe I'm wrong on that. That's what I've gathered from my Web Sleuth. I haven't read any Web Sleuth 101 books because, quite frankly, there aren't any. That was my idea. I'm just not smart enough to put it together. But if anybody out there is, feel free to take my idea and do it because it's for the betterment of the community. And that'd be like a Web Sleuth, sort of a Cliff's Notes for web sleuthing, endorsable and partially written by law enforcement, so that we're doing the things out there on these open investigations as amateurs, as to not do anything to damage a crime scene or to do things we're not supposed to do, basically. Yeah. It wasn't until about 10 years later they started having nightmares. I think they really realized then what had happened. I mean, yeah, it's a very legitimate case. I completely, Boston, believe that case. Yeah. Again, these so many of these encounters, people want to go, do you believe this? Yes, I believe them. Flat out. If someone's a trustworthy person that works hard for a living, like me or you or whatever, and they don't have some history, of lying, I don't believe many of you do. I get a good sense for that. We're web sleuths. We keep an eye on each other in this community. Out of sense and a good sense, Hiawatha, I will check that out and confirm that it's the same one that I was watching briefly this morning. I only watched a few minutes of it. Like, I haven't been up long, and I think it was over an hour long and I just don't have time before work, I get too nervous. I got all these bills are coming due right now. In fact, I got to come up with at least $100 today to get this internet paid, or we won't be doing any broadcasting. But I can get that done in Kalamazoo today, delivering. So I have gas to start the day. I have a couple joints. Got coffee. That's all I need. Got to buy a pack of smokes, but I got money for a pack of smokes for a change. I worked pretty long last night. I made pretty good money for a Wednesday night, in my opinion, on a slow, kind of summery night. It was gorgeous outlet. Not as hot. Again, it's like fall all of a sudden. But last night here not here, but where I was delivering in Kalamazoo was the sky was clear, light breeze, 60 degrees. The sun was going down. I mean, guys, that's perfect weather for anything possible. It's great for metal detecting, walks on the beach. Oh, you can go swimming in that temperature. The water's still warm. Dirty Palmer, that's right. You heard it here first. It's a cheap gas station cappuccino, any variety that you want, some kind of macchiato or caramel bullshit. And throw you a good, strong coffee stick in there. You could even use Folgers if you have to. I recommend Nescafe or Cafe Bustelo. Throw it all in your Johnny Cup. Hit that Shell bathroom, because down at the Shell station, they care. They keep it clean. They keep it sanitary. And I head on out the door. Stop and see the wood guy next door. Get $20 worth of his wood, and that shit lasts for days. Got the hardest wood around. Everybody knows that. Yeah, sensitive. Yeah, you're probably sensitive like me. They always called me sensitive. Do I sound sensitive to you? I guess I am. Doesn't matter what you sound like, guys. Matters what's in your heart, I'm sensitive. I'm not going to lie about it. I wear my heart on my sleeve all the time. And probably the greatest connection I can make on this box is for you guys to get a sense of who I really would be if you were sitting across this RV table from me having coffee right now. Nothing else feels better in terms of whatever this process is. You got to listen to Hello in There. It's one of my favorite songs ever. Okay, Junior, I'll put it on the list and we'll listen to it. I'm not going to put it on right now because they'll probably throw me off the air if I do that. They're real funny about music. That's why. Oh, I wanted to say too. Last show, the Oppenheimer Einstein memo show. At the beginning, I was playing a Monster Magnet song called "Cage Around the Sun." That sounded. I went back and re-listened. You can't. It's so choppy and terrible sounding. And then I realized right before that, I go, "Oh, I'm going to try this new feature on StreamYard. Cancel out background noise." That's exactly why. So anything going on in the background, which is where the speaker was at, because if I put the speaker too close to the microphone, you get that bleed over, feedback loop going. So it's back behind me a ways, and it was just that noise reduction bleeding out that sound. So I turned that back off. So I like to trick the system a little bit instead of playing a song, directly from YouTube onto the show, which would be the best for audio and so forth. I get that. I put it on a different source and play it in the background as I'm coming into the show in hopes that I won't get thrown off the air. That's why I do it, guys. And I like to find ways around the corporate structure. But always give credit to the band and the song in case anyone wants to purchase their material. Starting to rain a little bit here, guys. Weird. Wasn't perfect weather, Boston. I'm perfect for a fire, low bug situation. I just didn't have money for wood, I buy a lot of wood out here. I got to find a source if I stay here where I can get like a big truckload of wood, or even with an F on it, a load of wood, dumped here and then put a tarp over it, snow and moisture stays off it. And I know that having an outdoor fire won't keep my place warm, but I still like to hang out by an outdoor fire. I don't care if the wind is blowing snow sideways. If I'm dressed appropriately and I have a big fire going, I'll stand out there all night. I enjoy it. I'm a winter guy. I just don't want to freeze to death while I'm sleeping. But I have a feeling that Shay Watson, whenever she catches up here, excuse me, I should have muted the mic for that. Sorry about that. It's early. It's early for me. That when she gets here, she'll have some ideas of how I can keep myself a little bit warmer out here. At night, obviously, probably the easiest way will just be buying a heated blanket and only using it when I'm here and sleeping. I'm just real nervous about electrical fires and carbon monoxide. I mean, I know horror stories from both ways. I got a dog in here I'm watching. The thought, forget about the material shit, but the thought of, that dog getting hurt while I'm not morning. Yeah, fucking Elon Musk. I paused. Louise, you're laughing at something I'm saying or somebody's saying. I like that. It's good to see laughing emojis. Yeah, I got a decent carbon monoxide and smoke alarm. One, you're right. Adding one wouldn't hurt. But what am I going to do about that when I'm in, 50 miles away in a snowstorm delivering and the carbon monoxide alarm's going off and there's a dog here dying, I can't think about that, man. That's too much pressure for me. So we're going to have to come up with some kind of tenable solution for that. Dog jumper, stick blankets, and hot water bottles. Okay. Now that sounds something natural. And he would be adorable in a nice little blouse. He won't let me call it that. He's way too masculine of a dog for that. Hi, Wath is saying hi to Ruth. Ruth is here. Hi, Sensi, says Ruth. Hi, Ruth. I'm saying hi to you personally, and it's great to see you. We're just doing a quick little live today, some kind of exercise I like to do sometimes where I don't think about anything before I turn on the camera. I just turn it on and go. This is not a stolen idea from Jimmy Church, who is, and nor do I think he stole that idea from me, who's going to be starting his own 20-minute or so new broadcast on Fade to Black Radio. Jimmy Church, again, Fade to Black Radio. A real broadcaster, somebody who's on the real radio, has done many TV shows and is really a great guy. We'll be doing a new show where he just free flow thought process for 20 minutes and then boom, on and off. But I've been doing it that way since I started broadcasting, so I'm not going to give Jimmy that credit. Sorry, Jimmy, but you know what? I'm going to sort of, in a roundabout way, rip off an idea from Jimmy Church. Now, Jimmy Church has something called the first-time show disclaimer. If you're not aware, when someone comes on his show for the first time, he sits them down and he says, okay, so-and-so, we're sitting on my couch and we're friends. Where the conversation goes, it goes. Where it ends, but we end as friends. You have to agree to move on. And that's Jimmy Church's first-time show disclaimer. I'm not going to use that. That'd be a blatant ripoff. I'm going to have, listen to this, the second-time show, Welcome Back Kotter, sing to song. Anybody coming back for a second appearance on our show gets personally sung to them the theme to Welcome Back Kotter by me, a cappella. I'm putting that out there now, Jimmy. That's my idea, so don't even think about it. Yeah, Hiawatha, that presents a whole list of other issues I could talk to you about off camera or in email. djfarmer.llc@gmail.com. Hiawatha, you're welcome to have my phone number anytime also. But I don't want to put that stuff out on the air anymore, you guys, because that is an act of desperation and of negative attention wanting. I don't want to be that person. I want to be healthy. Even though I'm upset today or yesterday, whatever, I still woke up today going, you're going to get up and you're going to make this a success. Every day, every morning is a new opportunity. And yeah, I might have went to bed crying, and maybe I didn't wake up laughing, but I woke up ready to start again and give it a try. And that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. What's Sensi saying here? Line your windows with foil to keep heat in, but doesn't that reflect sunlight? My aunt, when she lived in New Mexico, didn't have a furnace or anything, but it got cold at night. In fact, she used to plow the roads above Bernalillo. If you know anything about that area, Albuquerque, Bernalillo area, if you go due north from Bernalillo, you're in the mountains of Santa Fe. A beautiful area. And she used to work for the state and actually plow roads out there of snow. Now, they don't have the big snow removal machines that we have up here in the north. Those several ton, machines with the big front. They had like big 4-wheel drive, like F-350s with a big plow on the front that they could clear 3-4 inches in a couple swipes. But, they had to have it. Anyways, what she used to do is leave that window and let the sun shine right in onto a bunch of rocks. And being from Michigan, you got to heat what do you got rocks in your living room for, Aunt Terry? And she said the sun heats them up during the day and then it keeps the house warmer at night. She learned that from the indigenous population, which when she worked for the state of New Mexico, she would go oftentimes to their reservations and mend fences or plow roads, because that's all in conjunction, with other governmental agencies. Bureau of Indian Affairs, which is federal. Derek, save this live feed. Great ideas in here. I will. I don't have to save it. Every live feed I have, just so you know, the reason you can't see it right away is because you can see right away that I can tell. It takes about 24 hours for the live comments to come up and be available to view, but I never turn those off. I figure, guys, we do things above board here. All these comments are for the world to see and for us to see forever, as long as I'm concerned. I mean, even if I quit making shows for whatever, I'll PO'd or who knows what, I'll probably still just leave the channel up. I mean, I think there's good enough content on here, and I think we set a good enough example for the digital landscape that it's something that's a benefit to the online community. I don't see us as just a show, by the way. Foil and bubble wrap, okay. I like the bubble wrap idea. It's thicker and allows light through. I want to let that light get through. That light means heat. But then you want to lock it in. Interesting. Yeah, sure. Look, and I'm a camper type. I mean, when I moved out here March 1st of last year, we had plenty. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain or not, but it's coming down pretty doggone good. We had about a month of really down 15, 20 degrees and stuff. And I was seeing my breath even with the 2 electric heaters going. So it was rough. And that wasn't the heart of winter. I mean, it gets well below zero with wind whipping. On in the storm, it's a satellite, of course, but the storm somehow affects it. Not sure how that works. Again, I'll say, I think I went out there. That hay bales around the foundation, if that's what you want to call it, the skirting, if you will, of the RV, where all that open space is at underneath, to block that off is going to be paramount, I think. And I think a single layer of hay bale or a double layer all the way around, I'm not sure how much hay is. It can't be so expensive. Maybe I can have wood and hay delivered at the same time by the same dude. There's plenty of those kind of services out in the country, and I'd like to get into some of those myself at some point, especially considering this job that I was looking at was like real materials and recycling real materials and doing real, stuff with real things. It was really something I think I could get into. I just don't have the venture capital to start that up, or the knowledge, or the tools. That was all sort of wrapped up in it. I'm not going to jump into something that I just don't know what I'm doing. But there are other opportunities, and I'm still going to get. I swear, my my mechanic / good friend, my buddy here in town, has offered up a 2-wheeled trailer for my Camry, and I'm going to get that. He's going to put a hitch on for me. I'm going to get that 2-wheeled trailer, and I'm going to start bringing home my own free wood, because there's piles of free wood all over Kalamazoo from the last storm still. Spray painted on the side, free. Already cut. No sense not to grab that shit for free. And other things too. Targets of opportunity that I can recycle, and I don't mean scrapping metal. I mean things I can, clean up and sell. There's plenty of that stuff. There's a lot of rich people in a lot of these pockets around this area. Skirting makes a difference. Got that right. Get that right, girl. Do you need to reposition the RV for winter? Keep kitchen area face to south, maybe. I mean, I have a kitchen area, but I've never cooked in my kitchen, so I don't know. I got a stove and all that. I even got a refrigerator and freezer, but you guys, I suck at this, man. I need someone to come here and fucking train me. I wish I could afford to do that and just show me all the little ins and outs of RV living, because I know I'll figure out one day how to turn on the refrigerator. I mean, I've been living just with a cooler and ice. I do keep in mind now, something I don't show on film or on video is the workshop. It's not mine. And I like to keep some things in the background, so someone can't just look and go, oh, that's where Farmer's broadcasting from. I mean, you have to understand, I pass out my name and this show to a lot of locals. And you guys know the history with this property. So I have to be aware of that. But with that being said, there is an outbuilding here, with a cement floor. It's a cinder block building where the blacksmith shop used to be. Maybe there's some opportunity there. It does leak. There'll be standing water in there if it rains hard, but I don't see why a $50 or $100 quality tarp couldn't go over that metal roofing for the winter one season. Be a cheap fix to stop any rain from coming in. I see tarps all over roofs, all over this area. Again, regulations out here are pretty well non-existent. In Kalamazoo, I wouldn't be able to live in this RV. And I'm not even saying I'm legally doing it here, but they don't give a shit because we keep the property up. That's good enough out here in this land of abandoned places and meth burned out places. They're thrilled to see someone mow the lawn and burn the trash. As sensitive as some of you may be to the environmental impacts of that. I have no choice. There's no trash service. So until I haul it like Ron Logan to the fucking place, although I'll have a license, I don't have a truck. And I'm not putting all trash in my trunk. It's food trash and stuff like that, I mean, I can recycle plastics. For example, an empty Tide bottle doesn't need to be burned. I'm not dum-dums. I know how to take those to Kalamazoo and get those recycled. But the trash, I got to burn. But I get a good hot fire going first. I don't just throw a bunch of shit into a smoldering pile. You guys see the kind of fires I get going? It's a decent sized fire, and I get that going. Then I burn the trash. It's gone instantly. Up into the atmosphere where we no longer have to worry about it. Sorry about that acid rain, Canada. Will the RV fit in a shed? Be a big shed. It's at least 22 foot long. There's a whole section I don't even use because it involves a bathroom and some weird little side room thing with like 2 little kid cot things with like a pull curtain thing that your great grandma had back to divide her room off in 1952. Yeah, I don't use that. I don't use the bathroom. I keep that door shut because, as we know, the sewer pipe got ripped off of here when I moved in. I've never pooped here one time. Sorry about my language. And I pee outside. Simdal's here. I haven't seen Sim in a while. Good to see you. So I don't know. As we go through it, I mean, these are just, I do get that. People got worse problems. As you can see, I do have a roof over my head. You can tell with the ugliest lamp in the world that I do have power. So, could be worse, guys. Always be worse. Right? Simdal saying hi back. Move the whole RV so your bathroom as kitchen is facing south if possible. The winter, not that bad, I hope, up there. Different story. No, we get bad winters. Boston. It's Michigan. Anywhere in Michigan, you're going to get a bad winter. You may not get a lot of snow, but you're going to go through a snap of 4 to 6 to 8 or 12 weeks of sub-freezing, bitterly cold, windy temperatures. It's going to happen. We are in between 5 enormous lakes. In fact, we are one of the largest sources of fresh water in the world, of course, as you know. Also, interiorly speaking, around me, I have at least 50 lakes. Don't think that the wind coming off those don't do the same thing in a smaller, more regional sense. We have over 10,000 inland lakes here in Michigan, but unlike the people of Minnesota, we don't feel the need to brag about it. Why would we? We have the Great Lakes. Love you, Minnesota. So, water is a way of life here in Michigan. Fresh water, not seawater. We don't know about seawater. We leave that to the smelly sea. Everything on the East Coast smells like the Hudson at low tide. Here you get a nice beach. Hopefully with not E. coli. E. coli. Yeah, so guys, I can't believe I'm already an hour into this. Wow. Time just flies with y'all. And Junior says, I have an addition to the back of my house, this laundry room and bathroom. I put bales of hay around the foundation. So this is being done. And Junior, you can attest where I'm at here in Michigan. It's going to be cold. I'm not going to kid myself. And I know where you're at, wherever. Yeah, Simdal. It sure is. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. Yeah, and if you want one for life, you just have to get Giardia. I'm so glad the one time I knowingly drank fresh water coming out of the earth in my hands like I was Grizzly friggin' Adams, not knowing what I was doing, was in Alaska at the top of a mountain. And I did not get Giardia. In a place called Eagle, Alaska, which is off the old Seward Highway. Anybody know who Seward is? He bought Alaska from Russia. He worked out that deal. The old Seward Highway is the tribute to him, and it goes along the coast of the ocean there, the inlet or whatever they call that. It's beautiful. Yeah, we went to a place called Eagle, hiked up the side of a creek coming down a mountainside. Yeah, no giggles there. E. coli equals shits and no giggles. Yeah, Junior, I drove to Alaska the long way and back when I was 21 years old. What a trip. What a trip. I got pictures somewhere, I hope, in storage. I'll show you guys sometime. Get them loaded into this box and I'll put them up. I just had a regular 35 millimeter cheap ass camera. And didn't get to take a lot. We sold all our stuff and put it in my 86 Ford Escort along with one shotgun and one rifle and began our journey up to Alaska from Michigan. Sleeping in hammocks the entire way. Not even a tent. That was quite an adventure. I don't regret that. Yeah, it was cool. Saw a bear. Never saw a grizzly bear. Saw a black bear. They had to shut down the highway, the Alcan, to let a migrating herd of caribou go across the road, and there must have been at least 5,000 of them. It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. If you've ever seen 5,000 enormous animals all run across the road in front of you, my entire car and ground was going like that as they ran down the mountainside and down and across the road and down and across. They had their own way to go. They weren't using the road. But traffic had to be stopped in both directions as this herd of migrating caribou. I don't know if I said water buffalo before, but I meant caribou. The only wild game that I've ever eaten and truly enjoyed. And beautiful creatures. I mean, they get this sort of they get this sort of shiny kind of what do they call that? Whatever that shell is, that's all shiny, mother of pearl kind of look on their horns. This velvety, and then they kind of rub it off, Oh yeah, I saw a moose. Nothing more impressive than seeing a big moose with his head in a little pond, which I think they call a moose sluice. Whatever that means. That's what they said in Canada. I got their own little language. Oh, you seen a moose sluice? Yeah, that's what I guess. It's like a little pond. They had them everywhere. And it must be spring fed because you could see right to the bottom, like these mini ponds. Maybe some of them were only 10 feet across. I know that sounds weird, like puddles more, but fresh water puddles. And they had their own microbes and living organisms in them. And one day I was looking at one of these, taking a picture, and I didn't realize that a moose had her head stuck into this water, probably licking mold or something, or moss or something off a rock. Because I think they're vegetarian. Moose aren't going around eating rabbits. They're vegetarian, so they're eating some kind of, vegetarian meal in there. And, they sure do stomp out Canadians. Boy, you don't want to get in the way of a moose. That son of a bitch will hit your car broadside right in the door and about tip you over. I mean, you just want to get out of there. So when this moose lifted his head out of the water, or her head, I should say, because it didn't have a rack, it was just a big mom. All this water, came up at the same time. It was this big dramatic scene of this moose lifting its head out of the water that I didn't realize was there because the moose was just eating plankton or whatever shit is in there, And so to just think I was taking a picture of a pond and then have an enormous moose head come out and with all this water, it was really dramatic, man. I'll never forget that unless I get Alzheimer's. Top of the food chain, stomping out Canadians since 1931. I hitchhiked to Canada and spent time at Lake Louise in Banff. It was beautiful. I think I was through Banff. Yeah. Banff. Which province is that in? Banff. I bet Yellowknife. I went up through Minnesota, actually. Past there, 9,872 lakes. Liars. And went up through Minnesota and through Winnipeg, which was the most boring province. Just sunflowers for miles. Sunflower after sunflower. That was Alberta, I believe. And then we went over to the next one. And as we got going west, they became more and more interesting. And it seems as if, geographically speaking, the provinces, much like states, are sometimes divided along geographic borders of mountains or physical land features. So you go from one province to the next, but it's like going from one picturesque scene to the next of a totally different. When I came through a place called the Kluane in the Yukon, it was reminiscent of a desert. Giant flat lakes that only looked inches deep. I'm sure they were deeper. Big surface areas. Little weird roads that just go like this, like a ribbon over the landscape. Barely even a yellow line, and dividing them. And big tumbleweeds coming everywhere. And that was up in the Yukon. Of course, British Columbia. Anybody who's been in the mountains, the upper Rockies of British Columbia, will know that they're much more rounded than our Rockies, which are much more pointy, indicating that they are much older. I'm getting a moose version of James Bond coming out of the water. Yeah, kind of. Only if, Yeah, Alberta. Yep. I knew a lady at the nursing home when I was a kid named Alberta. Where she walked up to my sister and she goes, "That's a nice sweater," and then spit on my sister. We were mortified. But, people do crazy shit when they get older. Yeah, I do know Tom Snyder. I mean, any kind of Ruth. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Elon's messing with me. There we go. I paused. I was kind of a dork as a kid. I loved talk shows. But Tom was a little bit dry for me. One of the first people on television I liked as a real little kid and bought his book as an elementary school student was Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes. I love that angry old guy routine he did at the end, you know. You know what I'm sick of? You know, and I just loved him as a kid. I love the word moose knuckle. North Americans really took English language to the next level. Yeah, moose knuckle's a great word. Of course, like the big brother to the word camel toe. The straw that broke the camel toe. Sorry. I don't mean to be offensive, ladies. I'm gay. I just talk kind of crazy sometimes, but I don't mean any. I know you know that I don't mean any sort of gender bashing disrespect to female listeners because, as we all know, women are smarter, better looking, and smell better than men. Anyways, I remind you of Tom Snyder. I didn't read the second half of that. Gosh, you could have said Phil Donahue or perhaps Dennis Miller, but Tom Snyder, huh? I'll take that. He's a real broadcaster, Tom Snyder, so that's a compliment. Thank you, Ruth. I like that guy who tried to do his show for a while, named Charles Scrotum or something. Charles Scrotum? Charles Grodin? Yeah, he tried to have a talk show, but oh god, it sucked. That's when people who are like famous entertainers, think they can just do anything because they're famous entertainers. I'm gonna have a talk show. I'm gonna start a rock band. It's gonna suck. Just stick with what you do. No one's gonna go see the Bacon Brothers, bro. Sorry. No one gives a fuck if you know how to play the guitar. A lot of people know how to play the guitar. They want to see your movies, dummy. Billy Bob Thornton and his band. Now I'm really waiting in line for that one overnight in a tent. Give me a fucking break. Junior says, what's moose knuckle? Junior, damn it, you're just a little bit older than us, and that's why you don't know what moose knuckle is. But if you Google moose knuckle, just beware of the pictures that will come up. Oh, it's that sort of, guys, do you want me to go on? Do you want... Oh, see, really? Moose knuckles is slang term for visible outline of a man's genitalia through tight-fitting clothing, similar to camel toe for women. Oh, I thought moose knuckle was just the big sister to camel toe. Like a bigger camel toe. Sorry that we're having this conversation. I'm so sorry. I knew a guy named Moose, actually. I met at the pizza joint. He played water polo, and I said, do you ever say, he had never heard that. He found it funny. Loved Andy Rooney. Also Morton Downey Jr. Yeah, Morton Downey Jr., You could, literally, the show you could die from secondhand smoke on. I loved Morton Downey Jr. Here I am, 11, 12 years old, watching Morton Downey Jr. every night at midnight before school the next day. That could be a bad influence. But his show, man, Morton got in their face. And it wasn't acting. It wasn't like the acting of the later shows. Morton wasn't acting. I mean, there were some real fights on that shit. And I was watching the day that Geraldo had the fight on the air between the race and the non-races. The entire audience got involved in that fight. Chairs were flying. Geraldo got a broken nose. Jerry Rivers. Yeah, he prefers Jerry because he wanted to get rid of that his ethnic name at his early broadcast point. But keep in mind that Geraldo Rivera was the first one to break the story in the early 70s of how poorly our veterans were being treated in VAs and in mental hospitals when he went right in there and saw people laying in their own shit and piss and vomit on the floor. And he brought that to the American people, and those things changed that, or helped to change that. So, hats off to Geraldo. Not at all, Simdal. I have the same sense of humor, and I don't think anyone here gets too awfully offended because we don't go too far into the deep end of being offensive. We're able to say things, sort of between the lines that others used to be an actual journalist. Yeah, now he's just I don't think he's probably retired now, but he was just a mouthpiece for the far right there for a long time. But he went a little batty after 9/11, as many did. It's hard to keep perspective after that, I guess for some people. I mean, it made Peter Jennings start smoking again. 6 months later, he died of lung cancer. Of course, Peter Jennings famously saying he landed in a hot zone in a helicopter when that was a total friggin' lie. So that takes away your credibility as a reporter when you lie about landing with military in a hot zone, taking fire when you didn't. Sorry to the late Peter Jennings. But I believe that stolen valor is possibly one of the worst offenses on the planet. Well, any stolen valor, but especially, you know, when others are putting their life on the line for your freedom, and then to say you were involved in something you weren't involved in. I've never served. I'm clear about that. But some people are so embarrassed by the fact they've never served, they lie about serving. That's a much worse offense, folks. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's very disrespectful, in my opinion. And that goes for being a cop, a fireman too, here on, you know, citizen side. It's just not stuff you lie about being. People risk their lives to be that, in my opinion. Junior, Google it. What's Junior Googling? Oh, Junior says I learned someday. I didn't know what camel toe was either. Well, again, that's probably generational, you know. In your day, they would have called it the half peach. Sorry, ladies. I'm glad Mr. Steve's not here for this one. By the way, how about that story from our unspoken guest? You know how bad? That's when I said I could come up with like a directly appropriated fundraiser for Farmer to do a project where you go, okay, you're going to take all this money and go do something we want you to do or some fun project. Sorry to keep shaking the camera. I'll keep my damn fat arms off the table. Hang on. For me would be to go and with what our friend in chat said the other night, I wasn't expecting that admission. And when I first put up what he had said about seeing an anomaly when he was younger, I scrolled right through that because I was just putting up comments, and that didn't click with me until I started reading the later comments of what he was actually saying. If you don't think I felt incredibly grateful for that admission, that you don't understand me. That took a lot for him to talk about. I know it did. And we'll just keep his name sort of on the back burner because I don't want people taking pot shots at our friend. You know, the ridicule is heavy, even for people with very legitimate professional histories, such as he has. And what a great American he is. And what a benefit to the society he is. But anyways, what a project to go with him to the location to actually do CSI work, which he might actually be trained in, and to figure out sizes, proportions, shapes, and do a whole expose on it. I doubt he wants to do that. But that'd be something that I would do a fundraiser for. Like, okay, let's come up with $1,000 over 6 months. You know, I would show it in the account. I wouldn't use anything out of it. I'm not saying I'm setting this up, but if in my head, if I ever did something like this, or even put somebody else in charge of it, probably him. He's way more trustworthy than me. When we hit that certain dollar mark, boom, we go film. And we make one hell of a cool broadcast that's a little bit more legitimate based on CSI research. What do you guys think of that? Ruth says nothing, Burger. Oh, Atlas? Simdal, what do you make of the object entering our solar system, Farmer? Ruth, I don't think it's a nothing burger. I'm sorry to disagree with you on this one, but to answer Simdal's question, I think we're doomed. That's what I think. Hey, Eli, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, the Colorado thing fell through. Same, Ruth, just like a Muamua episode. Right, so a Muamua was the... my lip goes up like that when I say Muamua. Like Elvis, who was alive in Kalamazoo in 1989. Different show. But Muamua was the first interstellar object we had ever recognized. Not to say, I'm sure there were many that came in and through before, but we didn't have the technology to see that. The second one was called 2I, some Russian name, Brezhnev or some shit. 2I Brezhnev. And the third one is 3I Atlas, 3 Interstellar Atlas. It's 300 times bigger than Oumuamua. At least it is self-luminous, it appears to be powered by its own power source. Now, when it reaches here around October, in about a month, when it gets into our zone, the sun will be between the Earth and Mars. So 3i Atlas will be obscured by our own sun. Soon we're not going to be able to see it anymore or know what it's doing, just like Oumuamua. I think Oumuamua possibly was a recon ship. I mean, Dr. Avi Loeb made that clear. I think people in our government know exactly what's going on with 3i Atlas, and they're shitting their pants. I think there's a tractor beam pulling it in from somewhere on this planet or in our solar system, and it's guiding it through and to here on a very exact course. It's not like a comet or asteroid. It's scary. And so then what you have is something that's going to be here supposedly around October that will be obscured by our sun and won't be visible again until early December as it goes by our sun, supposedly, and whips around and heads on out to wherever it's going. But if Oumuamua was the recon ship to see what was going on Earth, this certainly would be the one that stops behind the sun, so it's obscured. So if it doesn't reemerge in December, we know that it has stalled behind the sun, and it is getting ready to do something. Comets don't just stop and then start up again, that we know of. Yeah, I'm real worried about it. Size of Manhattan? No, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. That was the early report. It's about 2 or 3 Manhattans. It's over 30 miles across. We're doomed. That thing hits the planet, this planet's dead. At the speed it's coming, we're toast. Doesn't matter where on the planet. It brings on its own whole set of shit. That 99% of the humans on this planet will be wiped out. If I feel like it's going that way, I'm going to take my best shot at it, head for the middle of the country into the caves of Nevada. Just so you know. I have a plan. Not really a plan, because I don't have food, gas, and a way to get there. We still got a couple months, and that's on my mind. Refill your water tanks. Do it now. Absolutely. Get yourselves prepared. Well, I hope they like coffee. I don't know if it's alien overlords or a big piece of rock being pulled here by a tractor beam, but something is causing it to, I think it's like 30 miles across. That's like about 10 times bigger than the dinosaur killer. You know, it's coming at a speed much greater than we're talking like 196,000 miles a minute. I mean an hour, not a minute. Of course, the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. It's not moving that fast, obviously, or we wouldn't be able to see it. Just be a blur. It already hit us. It's getting close. It's in our solar system. It's going to be here soon. Keep an eye on this one. When you start seeing all the rich people go underground without a lot of fanfare on the news, if you're in those areas, you'll know something's happening. When you start seeing military equipment moved around that you're not used to seeing, if you live by a military base, you'll know something's happening. And when you stop hearing about certain stories that are relevant, you'll know something's happening. With that being said, thanks everybody for joining me today. I want to say thank you to everybody in chat today. Simdal, great to see you. Hiawatha, Boston Christian, of course, to Sensi Wackadoodle, and anybody else. Eli, thanks for popping in. Ruth, always good to see you, my dear. Junior, always great. Glad you're here, and we'll be putting together some ideas, for I'm going to stay here for the winter or not. And, it'll be an adventure for all of us on the road. If I do decide to go somewhere, I can work anywhere in the country as a DoorDash and Louise. Thank you, Louise, for stopping in. I'm not sure if you guys could hear me, but I did pause, sort of pause. It's being a little difficult here today again. Oh, Boston wanted to know if that was your retirement home, Junior. I was saying hi to Louise. I think I covered everybody, at least that made comments. Anybody else that's here, of course, thank you for watching. There's no, if you're not comfortable commenting, just lurk. I don't mind. That's what shows are going live for. Maybe you're not a real communicative person with strangers or whatever. We're fine with that. Although if you want to give it a shot, you'll find that our crew, our group here is more welcoming than most. And we welcome you. And we'll talk to you guys soon here, an hour and 10 minutes in. Welcome live to the Mountaintop in the Swamp. This is the Derek Farmer Network saying, have a great afternoon. I'm heading off to Kalamazoo to bring the hot dogs and donuts to ungrateful college kids in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Have a great day, everybody.